Every day when you come home from work, you came home high energy activity. That's a vibration called beta. You relax, the vibration slows down. Now it's called alpha, calm consciousness. And then when you go to bed, the moment consciousness is, I went to sleep, my eyes, I'm not here. Consciousness shut off. The next vibration for a short period of time is theta.
Theta.
What's that? Hypnosis. Put earphones on, put a program that you want,
That's
and
right.
push the button play just before you fall asleep. While you're still awake and conscious, you'll hear what's on the program. But the moment you close your eyes and you've disconnected, conscious mind doesn't hear a word. The subconscious mind is operating in theta hypnosis. So whatever the words are, they're going not into the conscious mind, they're going into the subconscious mind. And if you repeat this, because theta is not a long-lasting period, so you repeat it,
Right.
then that's called self-hypnosis.
Welcome to Far Out with Faust, everybody. I am Faust Chicho, and today is a very special day. I'm excited and honored to be joined by none other than Bruce Lipton, Ph.D. Let me tell you about Bruce in case you've been living on the moon. Bruce is an internationally recognized leader in bridging science and spirit. He's a stem cell biologist, a best-selling author of The Biology of Belief, recipient of the 2009 Goi Peace Award, and he's been a guest speaker on hundreds of TV and radio shows, as well as a keynote presenter for conferences and international conferences all around the world. He began his career as a cell biologist. He has a Ph.D. from the University of Virginia. He went to the Department of Anatomy at University of Wisconsin School of Medicine. He has breakthroughs, incredible breakthroughs in cellular biology and quantum physics, and they are legendary. In 1982, he began examining the principles of quantum physics and how they apply to his understanding of the cell's information processing systems. He produced breakthrough studies on the cell membrane, which revealed that this outer layer of the cell was an organic homologue of a computer chip, the cell's equivalent of a brain. His research at Stanford University School of Medicine between 1987 and 1992 revealed that it is the environment which operated via the cell membrane, controlled the behavior and physiology of the cell, turning genes on and off. We're going to talk more about it. Don't get hung up on it. Bruce, thank you so much for beaming in, my friend.
Faust, I am honored to be with you. I always appreciate people who have taken a life and made a career and done very successful things. So thank you for letting me be on your show. I appreciate it so very much.
You're welcome, my friend. I remember I have such fond memories of meeting you a few years ago and then meeting you again. And I was like, I'm going to have you on my podcast. You're like, you let me know. And I was like, okay, but I saw you were booked for a long time. So this has been a long time coming. It's a dream come true for me.
You are a patient man, Faust.
Thank you. So Bruce, you had this incredible experiment and scientific study with cells in a culture medium, and that changed your life. It changed your understanding of medicine, and really your work has blossomed from that seed. Can you for people who maybe are just being introduced to your work, can you speak a little bit about that for them?
Okay, let's see if I can summarize this in the next 12 hours.
Okay.
Basically, I was at the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine and teaching medical doctors. The conventional belief at that time was something called genetic determinism. Now, it's interesting because while science has gone beyond that, the public is still trapped in the belief of genetic determinism, which means genes determine the character of your life. I say, what were we really teaching if you think about it? Well, the first thing is this: as far as we know, we didn't pick the genes we came with. If you don't like the characteristics, you can't change the genes you came with. And then we just add this, that, well, genes turn on and off by themselves. And all of a sudden you realize you become a victim of your genetics, your heredity. And because the genes are controlling it, I don't control them. and my life is pre-programmed in the genes I received at the moment of conception. Well, I say that is called victimization. You're a victim. Right. You can't do anything about it, folks. That's just the way it is. Live with it. And I go, well, what does victim really mean? Powerless. I am powerless in controlling this. And then I say, and what happens when an individual feels they are powerless? And that is, they'll look for some rescuer. Who's going to save me because I can't do it? And then lo and behold comes the pharmaceutical company that says, we'll give you that chemistry to fix all your problems. And then and we gave up. And, let's start with something that's very serious. And I'm not making stuff up here, Faust. This is right out of 2 medical journals published by medical schools. The first one is from the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA. And the second one is from what is called the British Medical Journal. Both of them reported on the effectiveness of conventional healthcare in the United States. The significant conclusion is this: medicine in the United States is the 3rd leading cause of death. The first cause of death is cardiovascular disease. The second cause is cancer. And the third is called iatrogenic illness. And I love it because science is like the church. Well, we put it in Latin. You guys have no idea what the hell we're talking about.
Maybe they won't know what it is. Yeah.
No, iatrogenic. Oh, did I catch an iatrogenic thingy? Iatrogenic means illness as a result of medical treatment. So basically it says medicine is the 3rd leading cause of death in the United States. And I think you should pause at this moment and recognize that's the healing health industry. If the health industry is the 3rd leading cause of death, maybe they got something wrong.
Just maybe.
Just a little bit, So I'm teaching this whole victimization story in medical school. And the interesting part about it is I was also growing in cell cultures, cloning, and I'll talk about that, what are called stem cells. Now, stem cells are a buzzword. Oh, stem cells, another word, same word. Embryonic cell. A stem cell is an embryonic cell. You go, they're in my body. I go, if you're watching this podcast, you have stem cells. And I say, what do you mean? A body, when you look in the mirror, looks like a one single thing. I go, that's an illusion of perspective. Because if you magnify it, you're made out of 50 trillion cells. We are a cellular community that looks like a single entity. Yeah, I have 50 trillion cells. That's what makes this. Well, the significance of that is every minute we lose million cells. Boom. Skin cells are falling off. Hair. Oh, excuse me. Some of my hair cells came out, but they didn't come back yet. I'm still working on the stem. But the point about it is we lose at the end of the day, average human loses 100 billion cells. And I go, whoa. I say, well, how many days can you live if you keep losing 100 billion cells a day? And I go, not too many days. So basically, then how can you be alive? And the answer is, well, in that population are stem cells, embryonic cells, and their job is to replace any of the cells that are dying. So basically it says, yeah, you lose hundreds of billions and every day you gain hundreds of billions. Yeah. So here we are. I was cloning stem cell. What does that mean? You take one stem cell, just one stem cell, and put in a petri dish all by itself. But the cell divides every 10 hours. First there's one cell, then there's 2. 10 hours later, there's 4. 10 hours later, 8. Then 16, 32, 64, and it doubles. So at the end of a week, I've got 30,000 cells in the petri dish, all coming from one parent.
Wow.
So what does that mean? 30,000 genetically identical cells. And I say, and here's the experiment. I take those embryonic cells, stem cells, and split them up into 3 petri dishes. So 3 petri dishes all have genetically identical cells to them, okay? And I changed what is called the culture medium. This is going to come back big time in a second. The culture medium is the environment in which we grow cells. It's a fluid with nutrition and all kinds of support chemistry. And I said, what is culture medium? We're going to come back to this, really important. the laboratory version of blood.
Right.
So if I grow human cells, I say, what's human blood made out of? And then in the lab, I make a synthetic version called culture medium. I
Mm-hmm.
grow mouse cells. What's mouse blood? Blah, blah, blah. So I go, so what's the point? I make, because I'm synthesizing it in the lab, putting the components together, I make 3 different versions of culture medium. Well, the culture medium is the environment in which the cells are growing,
Right.
the fluid. And I go, let's call these 3 culture medium environment A, environment B, environment C, because that's the environment. So I have 3 culture dishes, genetically identical cells. In culture dish 1, I use culture medium A, environment A, and the cells form muscle.
Mm.
In the second culture dish, now it's got genetically identical cells, but I use environment B, a different culture medium, slightly different, and the cells form bone. In the third dish, again, genetically identical cells with all the rest, different environment, C, and the
Mm.
cells form fat cells. So I'm teaching in the classroom, genes control life. And in the laboratory, the cells are showing me, no, life is controlled by the environment in which
Mm.
the cells live. And I go, wait a minute, this is completely different. I go, why? Well, the first story makes you a victim of your heredity. Oh, there's cancer running in the family. I got the gene. I'm going to get cancer. Little sidebar. We'll talk about it later. There is
Okay.
not one gene that causes cancer.
Yeah.
There's no gene that causes cancer. Okay. We'll get to that. But the point about it is, I'm teaching genes control life in the classroom, but in the laboratory, the cells revealed to me that their fate was actually controlled by the environment. And I go, what's the difference? First one, genes control me, I don't control them. Second
Mm.
one, environment controls genes. And all of a sudden I said, but I create the environment. I can change the environment. And all of a sudden I said, well, then if you can do that, then you can control the genes. I go, yes, that's a complete difference from what people have learned. Genes control me. And I'm going, no, the new biology is called epigenetics. And they go,
Mm-hmm.
well, wait a minute, what? The old biology people have learned called genetics. This character is under genetic control. Genes
Mm.
control this character. Today, I say no. This character is under epigenetic control. They go, this sounds almost the same. I go, epi means above. So
Right.
we talk about skin. It's the skin is above a layer called, just below the skin is a layer called dermis.
Dermis. Right.
And I say, well, what would you say is the layer above the dermis? Oh,
Epid.
epidermis. So epi means above. So I say, this character is under now epigenetic control. What that means is this character is under the control epi above the genes. I go, wait, I always said the genes were controlled. No, genes control nothing. They're blueprints.
Mm-hmm.
If blueprints could control things, the architect would just throw blueprints into the empty yard and come back later, and whoa, and there's a whole building there. And I go, genes can't do that.
Mm-mm.
Genes are information. So I go, what's the information? Genes are blueprints to make the physical building blocks of the body called proteins. A body is a protein machine. 100,000 different proteins, like Lego bits, 100,000 different Lego pieces that you can assemble in different ways. So, some proteins make a muscle cell, some other proteins make a bone cell, some other proteins make a skin cell, whatever. And I go, oh. So I say, but the proteins which build our body are very complex molecules and they break down. Put a piece of meat on a plate, leave it outside today,
Mm.
and come back in a week, and there's not going to be a piece of meat left on there. It's all going to
Oh.
break down. So proteins break down. So I say, well, but they're complex molecules. You need a blueprint. I go, now
Mm.
the story of genes. Genes are blueprints to make a protein. But as a blueprint is, whether it's a blueprint in your genes or a blueprint for a house, blueprints don't have action. A blueprint can't turn itself on and off. Whether it's a house blueprint or a
Right.
gene blueprint, it can't control itself. And all of a sudden, I said, well, wait, if the genes are building the structure, what controls the blueprints? And it turns out the mind. I say, okay, put all the pieces together so we can get onto a real story. The story is this. I put the cells in an environment. The environment is the culture medium equivalent of blood. The chemistry of the culture medium is what activates the genes. Change the chemistry of the culture medium and change genetic activity. Now then I go back and I say, look, your body is a skin-covered petri dish, 50 trillion cells, but it has the original culture medium, blood, the original one. Does it make a difference if the cell's in a plastic dish or a skin-covered dish? I go, it's still controlled by the environment. In the plastic dish, synthetic blood. In the skin dish, the original blood. And I say, and what is it that controls the cells? The chemistry of the blood. Now, all of a sudden, 2 more questions and then mind blow, okay? And it goes to the next question as well. If the chemistry of the blood controls the genetics and fate of the cell, then what controls the chemistry? And I go, the brain is the chemist that puts the chemistry in. But then the next question is the one that the world changes. And I say, so what chemistry should be put into the blood? And the answer is, whatever picture you have in your mind, that picture is translated by the brain into complementary chemistry. There's a chemistry of love. There's a chemistry of fear. There's a chemistry of anger. There's a chemistry of joy. I go, what's the point? I go, the brain takes the image in your mind and then translates that into chemistry, puts it into the blood. The chemistry then goes out to the culture, the skin-covered dish, 50 trillion cells. The chemistry in the blood, just like in the culture dish, controls the fate of your cells. And we take it all the way back. I said, and that was controlled by what? Your thought, your belief, your perception of the world. And all of a sudden it says, yeah, change your perception of the world and you change your genetic and behavioral activity. And I say, so what's the point? I say, you're not a victim.
That's right.
We are creators. We're creating this with our thoughts. So if you have a thought of love, the brain translates love into some very important chemicals. The first one, dopamine, pleasure. Yeah, I love falling in love. There's so much pleasure. I say, that's not an accident. That's the chemistry of dopamine associated with love. And then I go, oh, okay. What else? I say, oxytocin. Oh, that's a chemical that bonds you to your lover. Okay. And I go, oh, yeah, that comes out when I'm in love. I go, yeah. Growth hormone, which does exactly what it says. When you're in love, you release growth hormone chemistry in your blood, which enhances the vitality of your system. So when people fall in love, they're healthier. They glow. Oh, look how in love they are. See how beautiful. I go, that's chemistry, folks. That was what did it. But I'll give you a different one. Fear. Now, fear, it requires protection. Protection means to wall yourself off and keep away from that fear. So the chemistry of protection are stress hormones, such as cortisol, okay? Factors that control the immune system called cytokines. So I say, wait, the chemistry of love opens me up to growth hormone, happiness, joy, pleasure. The chemistry of fear shuts me down, closes me off, and tries to wall me off from the threat on the outside. I go, that's 2 different behaviors. They're not even, you can't do both. Love, you're open and you take things in like food or love. You have to be open and bring it in. And that's, that's how you get stuff in your body. But fear, no, I don't want it. I want the outside to be outside. Protect me from the outside. So I say, oh, that puts a wall and you're closed. I say, wait. When I'm in love, I'm open, assimilating, taking things in. And when I'm in fear, I shut down and close myself off. Well, fear is a protection device, but you cannot stay in fear for too long. And so I'm transitioning here right now, Faust, if you can hold on with me.
I'm with you, my friend. I'm with you.
Okay. So let's say when I was a kid, you weren't even thought of yet, Faust. That's how old I am, okay? We had at the beginning, at those days, our fear of atom bombs. That was the big thing. The Russians were going to come and bomb us. And I even remember on TV, as a kid, I'd watch, they do an atom bomb test. They have create a little small building community and put mannequins as people,
So
just like a
traumatic.
little scene. And then they'd set off the atom bomb and the whole damn thing would blow away and burn up and everything. It's like, atom bomb, that's a fear.
Yeah. And
So,
they'd have you guys hiding under your desks. Right?
hiding, like,
My
this
God,
is
as if that's
me.
get under some kindling. My God.
The fear was in my school, which was built around 1900, was an old thing, and you went into the basement. That was scary, That was like, oh, it's like a dungeon. And I'm sitting there with all my classmates with my head down, my hands over my head, in the dark of a dungeon. That's scary.
My God.
So and
traumatic.
then realizing, oh my God, if the bomb drops, this whole place, and my mom and dad, they're out there somewhere, they're going to be blown away like all the mannequins. So I'm a kid going, ah!
Right.
So we got into protection. And so my point of the whole story is simply this. We made a bomb shelter. I say, good. In those days, we had air raid tests. You'd be working, schools would be open, factories, everybody's working, it's growing, great. Air raid siren goes off. What happens? You get off the job and you go into a bomb shelter. That's the difference between open and closed. Open, right. I'm creating life out here. Bomb shelter, I'm living in a box.
Very, very narrow vision, everything closed off, protect mode,
Protection, baby. And so they say, but it was a 15-minute test. They're all clear. I get out from the basement and life goes back to work again. No problem. 15-minute break.
Mm-hmm.
But consider this. What if you went into the bomb shelter and there was no all clear? I tell you, why? Well, how much food do you have in there? When that's gone, you have no food. You're in a box. Mm-hmm. There's no water. You're in a box. You're going to die. You cannot stay
isolated
in a bomb shelter. And I go, so what's the issue about it? I said, now put in perspective. When this system was designed, the only thing we were afraid of was a saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah.
Saber-toothed tiger coming. It's like, get into protection. Adrenal system, fight or flight, run like crazy. And I go, and if you ran 10 minutes, let's say you ran away from that tiger,
right?
Okay. I say, all clear, tiger gone. So we used the bomb shelter only for a short minutes right. at a time. But in today's world, the threats are 24/7, 365. We're living in a bomb shelter. Most people are living in a bomb shelter most of their life. Fear of what's happening. Fear, can I survive? Will I have enough money? Will I have food? Will I get health care? Blah, 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 blah. Constant. And I say, this is chronic protection. And I say, and what does chronic protection do? Shuts off the body's growth mechanism, hiding in the bomb shelter, and shuts off the immune system because the immune system is a big energy expenditure. Yeah. If you've ever been really sick, you didn't even have the energy to get out of bed.
Right.
So if the immune system is kicking in and you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, say, well, geez, how much energy is the immune system going to protect me from the bacteria infection? And how much energy do I need to run away from the tiger? And you start to realize you don't have that much energy. So when you're in stress, you shut off the immune system. That's what the cytokines, the hormones are. I go, to protect you, to give you more energy to run away.
Right.
But then we put in today's world, and the answer is, well, how much is the bomb shelter? I say, every day.
Every day, everywhere.
Everywhere, right? Every day. And I say, look, you can't sustain yourself in that. No. Put yourself in the bomb shelter. You're going to die. I say, 99% of the illness on this planet is nothing to do with genes. 99% of the illness is threat and stress. And the stress shuts us down. We're proverbially living in that bomb shelter with protection of every fear that you see on the news. Is like, oh. And I say, so what's the point? And I say, it's the stress that is 99% responsible for the health issues. Stress and environment. Environment, if it's a stressful environment, of course, or stress just consciously, either the real stress or a perceived stress.
The body doesn't know the difference, right?
Yeah. And so the point is this. We live in a stressed out world so much that we're dying in the equivalent of a bomb shelter that we put in our head of protection. And I say, Okay, so we have this protection behavior. Can I keep going, or should I it's like when does this sentence end?
I know you keep going. I'm with you though. I'm with
Well,
you.
let's start off with a couple of questions. I'll probably bring it up anyway, what I was going to
Okay.
talk about. Yeah.
Okay, my friend. Yeah, no, I mean, I love listening to you. So I'm this is probably not the best job for me to be the one asking the questions because I love listening to you. I could let you go on forever, but I think my questions will take you right back into some of the things you were
Listen.
saying anyway.
Yeah.
The there was an incredible, and you began to talk about this, the variations on our genes and this misconception that, oh, you are your genes, or, people get stuck in this thinking, and we know why it's still so prevalent. There's a lot of money in it, right?
Yes.
And that's the bottom line. So it's like, they're not going to teach you into knowledge that's going to break them, make them lose out on the monopoly that they've built.
Well, I have to follow that up with a very look. I used to be a professor in a medical school. I can assure you that the curriculum in a medical school is pretty much guided by the interests of the pharmaceutical industry. Doctors are trained to give prescriptions. Prescriptions are products from the pharmaceutical industry. What if there was a way to heal without the prescriptions? Like, you're not going to find it in medical school because medical school is the front, the front for the pharmaceutical industry. Who gives you drugs? Medical people. So basically, it's like they're programmed to be the go between the pharmaceutical and you.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I say, does the medical system teach self-empowerment and healing? And the answer is no, because if it did, it would lose the customers for the pharmaceutical industry.
Exactly.
They don't want you to heal yourself. They got products.
That's right. They got products for everything.
Yeah.
And when the products don't work and they create another symptom, they have another product ready to treat that one. So it's a perfect cycle for them, and not so perfect for the rest of us, which is why our population,
a simple statement. They give you the poison, and then they sell you the antidote. First they poison you, then they say, here's how we fix it. And it's like, oh, well, they win both sides.
Yeah.
Both sides.
I heard you tell I love this story, Bruce. I don't know if you remember, but I think you even wrote about it in your book, but you talked about your neighbor when you were going to move from Barbados to Grenada, and just how, we get signals from our environment all the time, and not everyone is quite as aware of those signals and how they translate as they should be. And I love the story you tell. I would love for you to tell it again for my listeners, about your neighbor.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to preface that with a bit of science first, because that's really important.
Go for it, please.
Feelings are the result of chemistry. Love is a feeling. Yeah, there's love chemistry. Fear is a feeling. Fear chemistry. Anger chemistry. So when you have a feeling, you're manifesting a chemistry that creates that feeling. Now, the important part about this is that everything has a vibration. Okay. Now, this all of a sudden, some people out there, what the hell does that mean?
Right.
And it's unfortunate, because then that takes us into, well, first I have to understand the new physics, not new, it's almost 100 years old, quantum physics. And I go, can I summarize it? Well, we look at the world from a Newtonian physics, from Isaac Newton, and what he did was separate the universe into energy, invisible, and matter, visible. And he said anything made out of matter is affected by matter, and anything made out of energy is affected by energy, but they don't mix with each other. So that's why medical school focuses on the physical body and not the energy. And I say, what's the energy? The mind is the energy. So medical school said, I don't care what your mind is all about. You're a physical machine, your genes, we're going to put the chemistry, we're going to fix you, all that. And that was a separation. But in 1927, a new physics, quantum physics, comes in. I said, what is the fundamental premise of it? And the answer is this: that thing we call matter, atom, which in Greek means uncuttable. That's the word atom. Greek, uncuttable, means the smallest piece of the universe. And they took it apart. First, they thought it was like a sand grain. Then they found inside was a little solar system that we've all been programmed with, a little nucleus
Right.
and the electrons running around like satellites around the outside. And so smaller particles, protons, neutrons, electrons. But when quantum physics came in, they said, well, what are those particles made out of? And lo and behold, they found they're made out of energy, like little nano tornadoes, little forces of energy. And I go, what's the point? Matter is an illusion. There is no such thing as matter. Well, hello, audience.
Yeah.
You live in a world of matter, and here's this guy telling you, there's no such thing as matter. Well, matter, one of the things, it has a physical character to it. And I say, a tornado has a physical character. Why? It can pick up a house and throw it away. You can't drive through a
Right.
tornado. The force of that tornado will just throw you away. It's got a force to it. So you push on it, it pushes back so you can feel it. Okay? But energy is invisible. So how can you see it? And here's the beautiful part. When the lights are out, you can't see it. And when the lights are on, you can see it. I say, what's the point? I say, photons of light come from a light source, hit the surface of the energy, and are bounced back. So you don't see my energy, you see the reflection of the light coming off. I'm still here.
Right.
Here I am. Okay. Oh, you want to see me? I got to put the light back on. Okay. And so the point is, this is why the new scans, CAT scan, MRI scan, they look right through the body. They can see what's inside. I go, well, then they're not using light because you can't shine a light through the body. I go, no, they read energy, the invisible. And I said, if you look at a CAT scan, you can see all those structures, the bones, the muscles, and everything. I said, but they're not reading light. They're reading energy fields. So underneath this veneer of light, which is being reflected, your body is an invisible energy force. Okay? I go, why is this significant? Because the universe is not divided into matter and energy.
No.
It's all energy. But there's different forms of energy. The focused form of energy is matter. The dispersed form of energy is invisible. Wherever you're sitting right now, television waves, radio broadcasts, cell phone connections, they're moving. You can't see them. You're bathed in invisible energy. But energy affects energy. And if the body's made out of energy, then the energy of the area, your field, where you're living, the environment, the energy of the people you're with, the energy of everything around you is connected to you, because energy doesn't have any borders. If matter is matter, I could take right hand, left hand, two hands, separate them. I'm going to talk about the right hand as separate. And I say, the right hand isn't separate. It's like ripples on a pond. Energy is connected to everything. We're making big jumps. I hope people are still there.
I'm sure they are. I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the idea is this. The most primary experience of an organism is to read the energy, the field.
Yes.
Is the energy supporting you, or is the energy contrasting with you? You might look at it this way. Good vibes, bad vibes. Vibes are vibration. There are some vibrations that make you feel good and happy and great and healthy. And there are other vibrations that will take that whole thing away and cancel your energy. So we have good vibes, bad vibes. We use vibes as the primary means of communication until we're growing up, and your teachers, parents and teachers say, oh, don't go by your feelings. Listen to what the person has to say. And I said, first time you got screwed, because the vibration will tell you if that object or individual is in harmony with you, good vibe, or if that person is not in harmony with you, bad vibes. So vibes become first. I give in my lecture, when I first started lecturing, only women came to the first lectures, and then over time, thank God, the men are showing up. But so I give a story. I say, here in California, high-end shopping, a department store, Nordstrom. And I say, it's like Saks Fifth Avenue. I say, there's a shoe sale, 10 pairs of shoes, different style, but all the same price. And so I say, you go into the store, you pick out a pair of shoes. The question, and this is the most important one, why did you pick that one pair of shoes
Mm.
and not the other 9? And the answer is surprising because the answer, you ready?
Yeah.
It made me feel good.
Yeah.
I feel, I can feel good. And I go, oh, what are you reading? Vibration. What? That style shoe has a vibration that is in harmony with you. So when you see that shoe, that energy of the shoe makes you feel better. Good vibes. Okay.
Yep. I'm thinking of
And if
my
it
wife
doesn't,
taking her shoes out of her box, all happy, and be like, "Look." She does it all the time.
it's all vibes.
Yes.
And yet we are ignoring the vibes, except the vibes are manifesting as feelings, anger, fear. Fear is a vibe that says
Mm-hmm.
the energy out there is not supporting who I am. Now they're canceling my energy. Remember, 2 energies can come together and add up and make greater energy, good
Right.
vibe. Or 2 energies can come together, cancel each other out, bad vibes. And I say, what's life? Life is energy. I go, so why is that important? Anything that enhances your vibe enhances your vitality.
Hmm.
Anything that compromises your vibe compromises your life. That's the first feeling and the most important guidance. I give a story like a snail comes from an egg. So
Yeah.
when an egg hatches and the snail's out, there's no mom, there's no dad, there's no school. I go,
Right.
here's a newborn individual just come into the world. How does it know how to survive? And I love it because you know why? On the dashboard of that snail, there's only one gauge, energy.
Mm.
If it goes in a direction and the energy gets lower, it says, oh, compromising my life. It turns around, goes the other way.
Wow.
If it comes upon a plant, is it something I can eat or not eat? And I go, if the plant is good for you, you get a good higher energy because the energy of the plant and the energy of you come together, and that's a good one. But if the plant is toxic and you get the vibe from the toxic plant
Mm.
cancels you, that's a bad vibe.
Go the
So I
other
say,
way.
then the snail creates a whole life by what? Moving around with one gauge on the dashboard. Energy. Is it going up? Is it going down? That's going to determine which way I'm going to go. We do the same thing, but we're not programmed to recognize the value of the energy. In fact, as I said, we're frequently programmed not to pay attention to the vibe. And I say, that's the most important thing you could ever do.
Right.
A guy could screw you out of your money because he has the right words. Oh, yeah, you're going to do this. You're going to make
Right.
lots and lots of money. And I say, if you didn't listen to the words, but you just felt the vibe of that person is canceling you. That
Mm-hmm.
means you're going to feel bad vibes about that person. If you ignore the vibes and buy the words, then you got lost.
Yep.
I can make up any damn words I want, but my vibe is my vibe. So somehow or other, the question you started with, I went on this transition,
Right.
and now I say, what was the question?
Your neighbor when you were moving
Oh,
from Barbados to Grenada, you
yeah.
knew you sensed it. You knew, but you
That
you
neighbor, I
yeah.
met him when I was in Barbados, and there was something curious about that attracted my attention. And I think it was he generated like a fear in me,
Yeah.
you know, and he even had like an olivey green skin. And I looked at him, it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
But
were
then
getting all kinds of signals. Yeah.
I was getting all these signals. But what was I doing? Oh, this was the time of New Age.
Yeah.
Oh, don't think that way.
Yeah.
He's a good person. Don't pay attention to that. So I tried to accommodate him in my field as okay, but every time I got around him, my heart was going, ah.
Yeah.
But we were packing up. He helped me. Was packing up my house and to move from one island to the other. And the moving people came and he helped, and we loaded the boxes and stuff onto the truck. And I went off to the U.S. before coming back to the new island, Grenada.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got back, I was waiting for my stuff to be sent. And I
Hmm.
waited and I called the company and they were giving me runaround. Then I called the company and finally I said, where is my stuff?
Hmm.
And they said, well, that guy you were with that packed
Oh.
up your boxes said you didn't want this to be sent. So we gave him all your stuff back.
Oh
And all
my
of a sudden
God.
it's like everything I owned was given to this guy on another island. And I lost all of my possessions except the
Right.
suitcase I went to the U.S. with,
My God.
and I lost it. And the point was this: that new age idea that, oh, all good vibes, everybody's nice. I go, no, people are
Right.
not nice, and you can tell. And if you pay attention to the feeling, I would never have been there, but I was thinking, oh, my feelings are giving me a wrong impression. I
Right.
should know him. And the thing was, I knew from the first second, that energy was canceling me. He took my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the important part about this, Faust, is to recognize everything has energy. Look, the Asians have known this for 1,000
Yeah.
years. They created something called feng shui. I go, what's that? The objects that surround you are all energy. Remember, there's no matter. Everything is an energy. And when you surround yourself with things that make you feel good, then when you go into that room or your house where you are and all the things you put in there to make you feel good, you can sit in that room and feel energized. Why? Because the energy of everything around you is in harmony with you, made you feel good. So sit in the middle of the energy and go, yeah, I
Yeah.
like this place. I also talk about living room sets frequently come with a couch and 2 matching chairs. Now, if you have a house with a couch and 2 matching chairs, here's an idea that you might consider. There's one chair that you'll sit in, and that's the chair you like. Well, the other chair is a perfect, identical match, but that's not the one you want to sit in. You like to sit in this chair. Why? And the answer is because when you decorated all this stuff, the pictures, the wall, the furniture, everything around, all of it with energy, it was focusing on that chair. So when you sit in that chair, you were being enhanced by all the energy around you that charges your batteries. So that chair, when you sit in, it's like, I feel good in this chair. Sit in the other chair. Doesn't have the same feeling to it at
No.
all. And I go, it's not the chair. It's the energy of everything. So objects have energy. People, animals, living things have energy. And when you learn to read the energy, that is like the snail, the most important compass in directing your life. Are you getting more energy from doing this, or are you losing energy from doing this? Why? Energy is life.
Yeah.
You got energy, you can do it. You got no energy, you can't do it. That's basically what it comes down
It's a
to.
great barometer to live by and to keep in mind as you go about, because people go about their day. It's easy to kind of go unconscious, but if you stop and just kind of take a reading, not listening, not falling into some of the other senses, but allowing that apparatus to come online and give you a little reading, you could save yourself all of your possessions.
Exactly what it's about. It's not even a joke. I mean, since I
No.
lost all my
I
possessions,
know. I'm
at
sorry.
that
I don't
moment,
mean to
it was
laugh
like,
about it. It was terrible. The guy helped you move, and then screwed. Oh my god! And you even said in your book, you said, I thought, well, see, I was right about that guy. He was even so nice. He helped me move, and then all of a sudden, your stuff was gone. See what I mean? It's like
I knew the vibe. I knew the vibe
you
from
knew
the
it
first
though.
minute, the first second I saw him.
Yeah.
He scared me. And I thought, okay, come on, new age, let's get out of that. And it's
Right.
like, yeah, I shut off the most important thing in my life, the reader of the energy. And that
Yeah.
was, I paid for it.
You did, my friend, but you learned an invaluable lesson that you now teach people with. So I'm sorry you lost all your possessions.
Hey, I'll tell you what, that's not the first time I lost everything, because when I got a divorce, I didn't want to have any trouble with getting out. So I said to my wife, you can have everything.
Right.
The bank, the car, the house. I just want out. I left with a suitcase and my car.
Yeah.
And so that was the first time I
I know.
walked away from everything, just left it behind.
I know a
There
few
are a
guys
couple
who
of other
wish they
things.
did that too.
But the Caribbean version, that was about I think that was the 4th time.
Wow.
But the universe was teaching me a lesson. I got it. So
Yeah.
when I lost everything, everybody around me was going, "Oh, you lost everything," and I'm going, "Yeah, I lost everything." And they're like, "Oh, why are you're not affected by this?" I go, 4th time. I got the message. You know what the message is? I don't own anything. I know. My partner Margaret, she owns the house. She owns my car. I own just the clothes on my back, if I own those at all. And what was the point? I have the best life. Why? Janis Joplin, freedom is just another way of saying there's nothing left to lose. Boy, when
Mm,
you lose everything, it's like, well, I got a lot of freedom because there's nothing holding me here
right.
to anything. And it's been a great
Wow.
experience of learning.
That's a great lesson too. You know, I've heard you tell this. Never forget the first time I heard you tell the story, and I'm sure there's more than one version of it, but it was a powerful learning lesson for me. And you know, it's kind of two parts. One is the story about you usually refer to him as Tommy, who's exactly like his dad and has no idea he's exactly like his dad. And just
Yeah.
like his dad, when you talk to him about something that he's, you know, he gets a little bit affronted. You know, he's like, "What do you mean? I'm not like my dad." Like, dude, you're exactly like your dad.
Everybody
But
else can see it except
right,
him.
right. So
We're all Tommy.
yeah,
And there's a reason behind it. And if you understand the reason behind it, then you realize why you lost your power.
mm,
And I go, okay, the research that I did with the cells in the tissue culture and the growth environment and the blood and the chemistry really came down to say, wait, genes are not controlling this. It's the chemistry that's controlling this. And I say the mind is where the picture is, and the brain translates the picture into the chemistry. So we manifest the reality of the picture. If it's a positive picture, then the chemistry that comes from that is positive and gets you to that direction. If it's a negative picture, you can have negative chemistry, kill yourself. You can die, which
yeah,
is the opposite of placebo, which is
nocebo.
positive thinking, can heal you of anything. Negative thinking, called nocebo, can cause any disease like cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It can even die from negative thinking. Nobody talks about the negative side. We always talk about positive thinking, but it's like,
Right.
no, the negative side is operating much at a greater frequency than the positive side. So I said, what controlled the fate of cells? I said, the chemistry. And I said, what controlled the chemistry? The mind. And that's where the whole thing flips right here, Faust. This is it. The mind. I go, oh, that sounds like one mind. I go, that's the problem. There are two minds that work together interdependently. Let's talk about the latest evolution first. Right behind your forehead, there's a lump of brain.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the prefrontal cortex. This is the seat of the conscious mind, which separates us from the rest of the mind back here, which is called the subconscious mind. Subconscious means below conscious. It operates without you thinking about it. What's your body temperature right now? What's your blood pressure right now? What's the digestion process? You don't need to. That comes automatically
Mm-hmm.
below consciousness. Okay. The conscious mind is the mind with wishes and desires. It's creative. The conscious mind's creative. The subconscious mind is habit, which is called
Mm,
program.
right.
Programs are habits. Okay. I say, so here's the point. The brain is a computer. This is what my research ultimately got to, that the membrane of the cell is a computer chip and the nucleus is a hard drive with programs in it. But the whole brain is a computer. Okay. But it's exactly the same in function as the silicon computers that we use. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I go, most important understanding of that is in the old days, you'd buy a brand new computer and take it home. And I say, push start, and the thing boots up and the screen lights up, and you just spent lots of bucks. And I say, do something. You go, I can't do anything. I say, you got a brand new computer. What do you mean you can't do anything? Oh, first I have to put programs into the hard drive.
Right.
Then I could use those programs to get off the ground. So the computer has a hard drive in it with programs, and it's got a keyboard. You can type on the keyboard and put what you want into the computer.
Right.
But the computer's already got a program. It doesn't need you. It can run automatically with the program, okay? So the difference is this. The conscious mind engages the keyboard of your creativity. Type success, wishes, desires. That's what I want. I'm typing all that in.
Mm-hmm.
The subconscious mind got programs. Before I even typed anything in, first 7 years of my life is programming. Why? A computer without a program doesn't function. So a child has to have programs. I go, programs for what? It takes a lot of rules to be a
Mm,
member of a family. It takes a lot of rules to be a functional member of a community. So many rules, hundreds and hundreds of rules. I go, How is an infant going to learn hundreds and hundreds of rules? Can't go to school, can't read a book. How's he going to do it? Nature created the first 7 years of your life where your brain is functioning not at a higher level of conscious vibration, but at a lower level called theta. Theta is imagination. This is why children, first 7 years, primarily in theta, mix the real world and the imaginary world seamlessly. They could have a tea party, pour nothing into the cup, drink nothing, and go, that was the best tea I ever had in the world. I go, ride a broom. It's a horse. To the kid, it's not a broom anymore. Right. Mother says, give me the broom. Kid looks at her like, what are you talking about? It's a horse. This is called theta, imagination. But theta is hypnosis. I said, why? How do you get your programs? First 7 years, just watch other people. Watch your mother, watch your father, watch your siblings or your community. Watch their behavior. And in a state of hypnosis, download it. Now you've just downloaded the programs to be a member of a family and a community. Now, of course, it would help if you came from a functional family. Yeah. You know, in my case.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, it didn't work out. My parents had a dysfunctional relationship. I go, so what? I said, well, I was a kid in there. And for 7 years, I watched how my father behaved. And then I tried to go out and find a relationship. And guess what? As soon as I started playing the programs for my father, all the relationship disappeared. Obviously, I downloaded some bad behavior.
Right.
But and I go, so here's the point. Conscious mind's creative wishes and desires, subconscious programs, but they primarily came from other people, so they don't answer your wishes, your desires. They're other people's programs. I go, okay, wait. So if I'm in my conscious mind, which is creative, for a second, imagine the body as a vehicle with a steering wheel, okay? And that when the conscious mind's got its hands on the wheel, creative mind, it will drive you to wishes and desires and things you want, okay? And then I say, but here's the problem. The conscious mind can not only look out the windshield and drive you where it wants to go, the conscious mind can think. What the hell does that mean? I go, thinking is not looking out. Thinking is looking in. Faust, today's Tuesday. Tell me what you're doing on Thursday and don't look at any place. And I bet you in a minute or less, you're going to say, oh, on Thursday, I'm going to do X, Y. And I go, where'd you get that?
Right.
I went inside and I thought. I go, that's the damn problem. I go, what? Well, you're driving the vehicle with your conscious mind. Excuse me. And all of a sudden you're thinking, you're not looking out the window because thinking is looking inside. A thought. It's not out here, it's in here. So conscious mind not looking out now is looking in. I go, well, you're driving the car. And I go, and this happens. You are driving the car and you start thinking, you're not looking out the window, you're looking inside. I said, could be dangerous. And I go, nope. You know why? Subconscious mind's program, habit. Did you learn how to drive a car? Yep, now it's a habit. Do you need the conscious mind? No. The habit knows how to drive the car. Right. So the moment I start going into thinking, subconscious is autopilot. Whatever I'm not paying attention to, subconscious mind got a program. It knows how to walk, talk, drive the car, do the job. So I go, so why is this the problem? Finally, Lipton gets to the problem, and that is this. Your conscious mind is the one that has wishes and desires. But if the conscious mind is thinking, it's not controlling the program anymore. It's inside in thought. You let go of the control. And I say, then what? And I say, well, the automatic control is the subconscious autopilot steps in. It knows how to drive the car. And I go, what's the point? You didn't observe how you drove the car. It was done by habit. You didn't even see the road. Right. You had no idea. I give a story. Let's say you and I are in the car right now, and we're talking to each other. I go, yeah, Faust, blah, 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 blah. And you go, blah, 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 blah. And I'm driving the car, and then I look out the window, and I go, hey, Faust, I haven't paid attention to the road for the last 5 minutes. And everybody's done this. Yeah. But I go, okay, but here's where the problem comes from. This is it. You ready? I say, what did Faust and Bruce talk about? Oh, we talked about this and this and this. Right. Next question. While you were having that conversation, what was on the road? I don't know. Yeah. I didn't see it.
I
I
wasn't
was in
paying. Yeah,
thinking or talking. I
wasn't
go,
paying
so why is
attention.
that important? 95% of the day, that is how the conscious mind's operating. It's not looking out. Then your life is being driven by subconscious program. I go, yeah, where'd they come from? Not from you, from other people. Okay. Then what? And I go, did I see my own behavior that was driving when I was thinking or in conversation? The answer is no.
No.
So all of a sudden it said, then whatever behavior was coming out, I didn't see it, but everybody else did. That's the story of Tommy or Billy. You say, hey, Tommy, you're just like your dad. And I say, back away from him because I know what he's going to say. He's going to
Right.
say, how could you compare me to my dad? I'm nothing like my dad.
Right.
People laugh because they've experienced. I said, what you recognize right here is this, is that everybody else can see Tommy's behavior. The only one who can't see it is Tommy because he's not paying attention. So is it good behavior or bad behavior? He has no idea what the hell it is. All he sees is a result.
Right.
And therefore, this is the failure of the system. Everybody pay attention. This is the failure. I want to be successful. It's not working. Oh, well, that person got in the way. This person screwed up here. That I'm a victim. I want to be successful. All those people screwed me.
Right.
I go, okay, reset. What's the point? You broadcasted behaviors that activated those people to end up creating what happened. And you're the only one that didn't see you were broadcasting that. So you are not the victim. You are the creator of that problem.
Right.
And can you claim it? I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have hurt myself. I go, not in your conscious mind.
Right.
Well, whatever your subconscious mind is. So 95% of your life is not yours. 95% of your life is you are playing programs because the conscious mind's not paying attention, it's thinking. 95%. So the life you're leading is not the one you want. Why?
Right.
Because the people you downloaded the programs from didn't offer that to you in the program.
Right.
My father was dysfunctional in relationship. I copied my father's behavior because I was in a state of hypnosis for 7 years. Then when I'm older, I'm using that behavior and I'm having trouble finding a relationship, but I can blame it on them. Oh, they were caused the problem. Not saying I created this thing. I go, oh, that sounds like all new age stuff. I say, no, it's physics.
Right.
It's science. This is exactly what quantum physics said. Your thoughts were manifesting this thing. You want to change your life? Change your thoughts. Don't change your genes. Change your thoughts. It's so much easier to do.
Right.
How does thoughts create a disease? I'll give you a very simple example. First of all, I said there's no gene that causes cancer. That's number one. So I said, how did the cancer come? I'll give you an example. An infant is adopted into a family, but there's cancer running in that family through the lineage. It turns out that the adopted child is going to get the same family cancer as all the natural siblings. And I go, yeah, but the adopted child came from completely different genetics.
Right.
Where did cancer come from? Misprogramming, defective programming that puts stress on the system. And it's the stress that will produce that cancer. And that's why, hey, the BRCA gene, the breast cancer gene, women are terrified. Why? Because of the breast cancer gene, I'm going to get breast cancer. So the model Angelina Jolie,
Right. My God.
Healthy, beautiful. You got something you want to add about that, Faust?
No, it just blows my mind that that she went out and did what she did without a moment's thought of I mean, I understand that she was in fear and was
Her
not.
doctor, I think, was a father, so it enhanced the fear that she was going to get the breast cancer. So this healthy, vibrant, young woman has a double mastectomy to say, well, I'm not afraid of breast cancer.
Right.
I don't have any more breasts.
Right.
Of course, nobody also told her the same gene causes uterine cancer and ovarian cancer. So if she really wanted to avoid the cancer of a so-called gene, not only have the mastectomy, but hysterectomy would also go along with it. But the point about it is this. Nobody stopped to say, how come half the women that have this gene don't have the cancer? I say, stop for 1 second. Half the women that carry the gene don't get the cancer. I'm going to tell you what was the first point. having the gene didn't cause cancer.
Right.
Possession of the gene itself didn't cause cancer. It was a state of disharmony, behaviors that were conflicting with health and harmony. That's what caused the cancer. And those behaviors are passed in that first 7 years from the parents to the next generation, which is then passed by them to their kids, and it runs in families.
Yes.
And so cancer runs in families. Everyone thinks, well, genes run in family. I go, yeah, genes run in family, but cancer is programming that runs in families. And that's what we have to recognize. 99% of the issues of health are not connected to the genes at all. It's connected to programming and responses to a world.
Yes. God, it's, I think that this is becoming more permeated into the collective consciousness of humanity to some degree, but you have a lot of people still plugged into the matrix who are, being convinced, no, that's pseudoscience. I'm like, no, man, that's the latest science.
That is a science.
You just haven't caught up yet,
Now, what's beautiful about the movie The Matrix, I said, it's a documentary. It's not science fiction because the premise is everybody's program. I said, that's not just a premise. That is a functional reality. Everyone has been programmed through age 7, okay? But the better part of the movie is, well, you could take a blue pill or you could take a red pill. And I say, what's the difference? Take a blue pill, you wake up, you're back in the same program like every day of your life. Take a red pill, you get out of the programming. So let me offer something to the people.
Please.
If you've ever fallen in love, and I want to also vary that a little bit because it makes it like I need to fall in love with another person. No, you could fall in love with a pet. You can fall in love with being a chef. You can fall in love with being an artist. You can fall in love with being a gardener.
Your life.
Being in love means you're not thinking, you're staying in the present moment. As I said, you fall in love. You met this person. You've waited your whole life. They just showed up. Is this a time to think and not be here? I go, that's stupid. You waited for this person. You stop thinking. That's what happens when you fall in love. You stop thinking. You stay what is called mindful. You stay present.
You start being.
I go, what does that mean? I say, when did you play the program? When you were thinking. What if you're not thinking? Then you're not playing the program. Well, then what's in control? The conscious mind, which is what? Wishes and desires.
Ideals.
That's why your life could be blah, 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 blah. You meet this person 24 hours later. Oh, life is so beautiful. Everything, the food, the music. I'm not going to talk about the sex, but that's great.
Yeah.
Everything is beautiful. I say, you went blah, 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 and 24 hours later, you had heaven on earth?
Right.
How? That was a red pill. You stopped thinking. And when you stop thinking, you didn't engage the programs. You engaged the creative. And the creative made heaven on earth. And I go, and how come the heaven on earth honeymoon doesn't last? And I go, it happened because you stopped thinking. But at some point, guess what? You still have a job, you have chores, you have responsibilities, you start thinking, and all of a sudden, when you start thinking, guess what happens? The subconscious programs show up.
That's right.
What's the point?
They sure do.
Your partner never saw these programs. You never played subconscious programs, which are negative. You never played that in the honeymoon because you never played the program.
Right.
So your partner has never seen any of the negative side until you start thinking. But then all of a sudden you let the subconscious take over as autopilot, got some bad behaviors in there. Your partner looks at you and go, who are you?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? And you are going, what are you talking about? Why?
Right.
Story of Tom.
Just like Tommy. Yep.
Just like Tommy. I didn't see the behavior. What are you talking about? She saw the behavior. He saw the behavior. You did it. You didn't see it. They saw it. They responded to behavior and you're in shock.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Who am I? I've always been this way. I go,
yeah, I don't know you. No, you don't. You don't know them. Now you're meeting them.
And so guess what? That honeymoon, which is based on not thinking, is lost when you start thinking, because that's when you bring up the bad program. And, I need to add this if I have the time. Please, do I have a few more minutes?
You absolutely do, Bruce. Absolutely.
Well, then here comes the issue. Your life, 95% program. Do you see the program? No, we already talked about that because you only play it when you're not paying attention. But that means then what are your programs? I said, well, you were being programmed even before you're born, the last trimester of pregnancy. You were programmed from 0 to 1 a whole year. You were programmed from 1 to 2 a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
What were those programs? You go, I have no idea. I wasn't there. No, you weren't there. Conscious mind wasn't working. So whatever programs came in, you are the one that don't know those programs. Why? You were not conscious when you were being programmed. So then I go, oh my God, then how am I going to deal with this? And then I give the simple answer. 95% of your life is coming from the program. Your life is a printout of subconscious programs. I go, what does that mean? I go, simply look at your life right now. The things that you like and they come into your life, they come in because you have a program to acknowledge those things. But the things you wish for and desire and want, but you're not manifesting them, and you have to work hard. You have to sweat over it. I'm putting a lot of effort in. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. I'm working real hard. Why are you working so hard? And the answer is, whatever that destination is that you're working real hard to get to, you're working hard because the program you got in that first 7 years does not support that destination. And you're going to try to make a conscious effort to override the program. More work, stress, harder, more effort. And I go, mathematically, not going to happen. I go, what do you mean? Subconscious, 95% of the day. And let's say the power of the computer is 1 million X. Conscious, 5% of the day, computer power X. So the subconscious, 95% of the day is 1 million times more powerful than your conscious creative mind. Doing the math says the conscious mind is not going to override that subconscious.
No.
The only way to get rid of it is stay mindful. But that's very difficult. Why? World's too busy. You're going to have to keep thinking anyway. So I said, now what? I say, last part, change the program. Oh, you can rewrite the program and go, yes! Because if you couldn't, this would be such a pain in the ass communication, and Faust will get bad letters. Why'd you put the evil man on? Okay, let's get rid of the evil and talk about a simple reality, and that is this. The programs were downloaded, and therefore you can download new programs. I said, well, how do you do that? And I said, well, how did you download them the first 7 years? Oh, your brain wasn't at the higher vibration of consciousness. It was just below consciousness, theta. I said, well, guess what? Every day when you come home from work, you came home high energy activity. That's a vibration called beta. You relax, the vibration slows down. Now it's called alpha, calm consciousness. And then when you go to bed, the moment consciousness is, I went to sleep, my eyes, I'm not here. Consciousness shut off. The next vibration for a short period of time is theta. What's that? Hypnosis. I say, so what? You're sleeping. I say, that doesn't make any difference. Put earphones on, put iPods in, put a program that you want, push the button play just before you fall asleep. While you're still awake and conscious, you'll hear what's on the program. But the moment you close your eyes and you've disconnected, conscious mind doesn't hear a word. The subconscious mind is operating in theta hypnosis. So whatever the words are, they're going not into the conscious mind, they're going into the subconscious mind. And if you repeat this, because theta is not a long-lasting period, so you repeat it, then that's called self-hypnosis. And you can change your entire belief system, put in these earphones or earpods, put them in, go to sleep. I love it. How much work do you have to do? Oh, you have to go to sleep. Oh, I can do that.
Can you hack it?
I can handle that one. Okay. So number one, you want to change the program? Theta is how you got the program. Theta happens every night when you go to bed. Use that time and reprogram. Self-hypnosis. Number two, well, you also learn programs after age 7. You learn how to drive a car. You may have learned how to play an instrument. You may have learned how to write a movie and direct it. Mr. Faust over here. You learned that after age 7. I said, well, how did I learn it? That's a new program. I go, repetition, practice. You got in the car the first time, you didn't know how to drive the car, but there were so many things like the Look out the windshield, watch the mirrors, see the gauges on the dashboard, listen to the sound of the engine, put the foot on the right pedal. It's like, first time some people get in their cars, like, too
Very
many things. I say, but you learned how to drive a car. Why? You practiced. I say, so what's the result? I say, today you put the key in the ignition and you drive, and not once did you consciously pay attention to what's going on, the sound, what's in the mirrors. It was all unconscious programming. Okay. So after age 7, you put new programs in by repetition. There's a new age phrase that makes me laugh. Fake it till you make it. I go, simply, what does that mean? Let's say you're an unhappy person. Your life is unhappy. Every freaking day is like, I hate it. I say, well, then here's what you do. Every time you can remember during the day, as many times you can remember, you just say, I am happy. I am happy.
Smile.
I am happy to yourself. I go, what are you doing? Repetition. What's repetition? Practice. What's practice? Habit making.
Programming, reprogramming.
And there's a point where you can say that every day, I am happy, I'm happy. And there's a day you'll wake up and guess what? You don't have to say I'm happy anymore. It's automatic. Now it's a program. You don't even have to do anything anymore. It's done for the rest of your life until you change that program. So those are the first 2 ways. Those are the natural ways of changing a program. And there's a third way, and it's called energy psychology. And I go, what the hell is that? It's a new version of psychology. It doesn't go into the past. What happened in the past? Who did what to who to make me here I am today? Right. It's like, go back and let's talk about that idiot that did that. And I say, you're just repeating the same behavior again in your mind. I say, you didn't clear this. You're just actually replaying it and
rehashing it. Yeah.
So the idea of going backwards is irrelevant. Why? They're not here, but you have a program you walked away with. The program's here, not the people. So you want to change it. I change the program. And there are new versions of psychology called energy psychology. My website, brucelipton.com.
Yes.
Under resources, I have over 25 different energy psychology modalities that you should read a little paragraph on each one. Find one that you like. There's a website. And guess what? You can change a belief in 10 minutes if you understand super learning. I use the process called Psych-K, Psych-K. And I couldn't have written a biology of belief. Why? My original program said, if you write this book, you're going to alienate yourself from all of your colleagues. And especially because you're going to talk about spirit, which is not allowed in medical school.
Right.
And so my subconscious mind, I'd get about halfway through the book and my subconscious mind said, okay, that's enough. And then I'd struggle and then I'd put the book, forget about it. And I realized later my subconscious program was protecting me, saying, if you write this book, your colleagues are going to run away from you like crazy, which they did. Okay. But I changed the program and I don't give a damn about them because the experiments and the research is 100% dead on. And I rewrote the program. How long did it take me to rewrite the program that was inhibiting me? Maybe 15 minutes.
Wow.
I go, oh, why? Because in the super learning process, you can rewrite these programs. And I say significance is this. What if you just consider for a second, if you put only programs in your subconscious mind that match the same wishes and desires that you have in the conscious mind? Okay, what would be the significance? You ready? Whether you're paying attention or you're not paying attention, the mind, conscious and subconscious, will be sending you to wishes and desires. And that's the beautiful part.
Yeah.
Change the program. You don't even have to pay attention anymore. Why? Subconscious is running at 95% of the day. You didn't even do anything about it. It's running automatically. Yeah, but if it runs automatically with a program that I want, then I'm going to manifest a program I want without what? Paying any attention.
That's
the subconscious did it.
Your GPS is set for heaven, and all you got to do is, get in the car and go.
That's it.
It's that is how you end up with heaven on earth.
And who better to hear from than Faust over here, who has taken a life and made a creative venture out of his life.
Thank you.
And
yes.
Most of us have wishes and desires. He did it.
I love it. I love it, my friend. This has become my passion, and having these talks with incredible minds like yours, and creating content for my channel. I've taken 20 years in film and industry, and since 2020, it's all culminated with this, and
Yeah.
this is incredible, amazing, dream come true for me to finally be talking to
You
you.
were patient. I have to say, I reviewed some of the emails like a year ago. I'd like to get on the show. Oh, yeah, well, in the future here, then the future there. And then next thing, it's a whole
Yeah.
year.
And then I heard you were stuck in New Zealand, and I was like, oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if he's going to get back this year.
Life is amazing. And while a lot of people, their lives were turned upside down, walking on this other path, it never affected me. And I was right in the middle of all of it. It was like I was in the eye of a hurricane all around me. Everything is being destroyed in my little house where I'm sitting in. Fine. Nothing going on here.
That's what I mean. Got your GPS set and keeps you well out of trouble. It's amazing the way it works.
And Faust, I want to thank you so much for letting me be on your program, because the whole idea is what you're doing is try to empower people. Because if we become empowered, then the world that we're destroying has an opportunity to turn around. Right now, we're not in a state of, we can't survive.
Right.
Huh? I said, yeah, because to support the current civilization, just if we want to live just like today's day, everybody around the world said, let's just live like today for the rest. It takes 1.6 planet Earths to provide for the civilization. I go, well, okay, there's a mathematical problem. There is no extra 0.6 planet Earth to provide the resources. So there's a simple conclusion. You can't do it anymore.
Right.
And that's why we're seeing a collapse of civilization through all the chaos. Yeah. And I go, and everybody's going, oh, I'm afraid it's falling down. I go, if it doesn't fall down, the end is going to be civilization as we know it. Maybe 20 years, it'll be collapsed completely because it can no longer support itself.
Right.
So the last message here is, yes, it's falling down. Don't hold on to the one that's falling down, because that's the civilization that's causing our extinction.
Yeah.
You want to do something positive in your life, step out of that civilization, move over to a new civilization where we're going to think and behave in a different way, and start to recognize that the Darwinian theory that says it's all struggle for
that's
life.
You just read my mind. I said, I was just thinking, I got one of these days when you have time again down the road, I would love to have you back on, and let's talk about Darwin and that
Darwin doo-doo.
Exactly, but people don't know, and I've learned so much, and then gone off and researched myself from when I heard you talking about Darwin. I would love to have another conversation with you about him.
Well, let me just conclude where the simple conclusion is this: Darwinian theory is survival of the fittest in the struggle for life, which is the emphasis is competition. Who's going to be the fittest? When we now know in biology that survival is based on cooperation, which is the complete opposite of competition. And therefore, the future says we either come together and cooperate or we die. Yeah. And this is the wake-up call that's happening on the planet right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
I'd love to come back. I hope it's not a year.
I hope not too. I mean, I'll wait if I have to, but I'll stay on you, and we'll see what's up with your schedule.
Please do. And I'll say to Annie, my boss, my business manager boss.
Yeah.
Annie, when Faust calls, let's stick it in there a little bit earlier.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And I appreciate Annie too. Bruce, I'm so grateful for your time. Thank you so much for taking this time with me. It's a great honor and a dream for me. So I'm so grateful. I love you, man. I love the work you're doing. It's so important, and it's inspiring, and I'm grateful.
I am grateful that I'm here with you, because what are you doing? Broadcasting new information. Your knowledge is power.
Yes.
And you're broadcasting new knowledge of empowerment. So I am honored to have this as a platform so I can talk to all those people out there in your community.
Me too, my friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll be in touch with Andy. We'll set something up. We'll talk more about this Darwin
I
character.
sure hope so, because there's a lot of discussion which is relevant at this moment.
Very relevant. I know it. Thank you again, Bruce. You take care, my friend.
All right.
You have a great day. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Bruce.